And do they have a big-time coach? Yes. So think about it. When you have your checklist of what a team needs, and that's why, for me, it's so frustrating when you look at the Jets, because the Jets, for some reason, refuse to go by what wins now in the NFL. You know, you need a big quarterback. Do the Jets have a big quarterback? Not really. You need playmakers at the receiver position. Do the Jets have playmakers at the receiver position? No, not really. You need guys that can get after the quarterback. Do the Jets have guys that can get after the quarterback? No. So every team now, I mean, look at the Packers, quarterback, receivers after the quarterback. Look at the Steelers, quarterback, receivers after the quarterback. Look at the Patriots, quarterback, receivers after the quarterback. But the Jets, and I don't want to turn this into a Jets focus here, but the Jets almost feeling it's so weird, like they actually know better than the rest of the league. But right now you look at the Giants and you say, where do they rank? And I don't think it matters. And this is weird. When you watch a team that you can say, I don't think it matters if they get the 1 seed. I don't think it matters if they get the 4 seed. I don't think it matters if they get the 6 seed. If the Giants make it to the postseason, which I think right now you'd have to believe is the case, they're a major, major player. Through 12 weeks of the NFL season, your take on the New York Giants is what? 1-800-919-3776. Through 12 weeks of the NFL season, your take is what on the Giants? 1-800-919-3776. And Eli Manning with some words of wisdom. We'll hear that next. Dave Rothenberg in for you on ESPN New York 98.7 FM.
Jets head coach Rex Ryan, weekly on the Michael Kay Show.
Do you believe that these last 5 games are going to be a referendum on you, and do you feel these last 5 games you're coaching for your job?
If I focus on my situation, that really isn't the priority here. The priority is the players and getting these guys to where we're playing good football and better football and keep improving. I think that's where the priority has to be. You know, I'm certainly not the priority.
Jets head coach Rex Ryan every Monday at 5:15 on ESPN New York 98.7 FM.
Dear ladies, do you ever talk smack because you got fake points when your fake running back scored a touchdown?
Did I miss the waiter? 'Cause you just got served.
Not your style? Then the bold flavors in Dr. Pepper 10 aren't for you. 'Cause it takes 10 of the toughest calories in the world to contain the full power of Dr. Pepper's flavor. So if you don't get so excited about winning a pretend football game that you break bones on a high five,
my hand,
then you don't get Dr. Pepper 10. It's not for women. Dr. Pepper 10 is an equal opportunity beverage. Anyone can enjoy the taste of Dr. Pepper 10 regardless of status or non-status as a man, woman, or other.
Listen, you've heard me say it. Teddy, the huggable dealer, is the place to go for the best deal on a new car or certified pre-owned car, period. But hold up, this event, even I can't believe. It's the Teddy Black Friday sales event, extended through today. I'm telling you, you'll never get a chance to drive a new car for less. Drive a new Nissan for only $69 a month with absolutely zero due at signing. All you do is pay for your miles. That's right. You heard it correctly. Brand new Nissans, only for $69 a month. Zero down, zero first month payments, and zero bank fees. Absolutely zero due at signings. Teddy, the huggable dealer. Volkswagen and Nissan in the Bronx. Online at teddycars.com. Come in for a hug and choose from hundreds of new vehicles starting at just $69 a month. All from Teddy Nissan, the huggable dealer.
I'm a good gift giver. No, a fantastic gift giver. What do I get in return? An unnecessary cheek pinch. I deserve more. So this year, I'm giving Buffalo Wild Wings gift cards. For every $25 I spend, I can get a blazing bonus worth up to $100. So the next time I hear, oh, that's so sweet, it better be referring to honey barbecue sauce. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. No purchase necessary. Must be 18 or older. Valid in restaurant at participating locations only. And void in Florida, New York, Rhode Island, and where prohibited by law. Ends 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on December 31st, 2012. See official rules at BuffaloWildWings.com for restrictions and details.
As a small business owner, you've probably heard how Constant Contact helps small businesses grow with email marketing. And you may be asking, could it really work for me? Well, consider this. Every dollar small business owners spend on email marketing puts $40 back in their pockets. So it's no surprise that 2 out of 3 of them plan to invest more in email this year. Now you may be asking, how can I get a piece of that action? Simple. Just visit ConstantContact.com to start your free email marketing trial today.
It's ESPN Radio Sports Beat time on a Tuesday. Hi, everyone. This is Mike Tirico. One of the stories of the day, the passing of Marvin Miller, the longtime head of the Major League Baseball Players Association, its executive director during the days that became significant in the sport, passed away after a battle with cancer. From 1966 to 84, a very long time, and a very changing time in labor relations between players, player unions, and ownership, Marvin Miller headed the baseball guys, put them out front. Free agency, barriers, and terms, conversations that were never had before now became part of the lexicon of American sports. He was a figure that for many caused anger and the strife that came with strikes or lockouts. As players' salaries were rising, so too were the rights for players. The haves and the have-nots started to take shape. Terms like collective bargaining, legal cases got in the way of runs, hits, and errors. It set the template for a lot of the frustration that fans carry about how much does a guy make? What's his guaranteed money as we get into this generation? And look at the National Hockey League labor dispute that today is in mediation. The players in the NHL are being led by Don Fehr, who followed the late Marvin Miller as the head man for the baseball labor dispute. In an individual game, he gave a collective, very loud voice to individuals fighting against owners. Labor rights in America paralleled this cause. He's a significant figure who never stepped between the white lines, and our colleague Tim Kirkjian said it on SportsCenter this morning better than we can. He said you cannot write the history of baseball without Marvin Miller right in the middle of it. So true. To the basketball court after this.
Texas.
Touchdown Longhorns.
Kansas State.
Top yards, number 7. He earns them.
Heisman hopeful Colin Klein leads the Wildcats in their quest to capture the Big 12 title and clinch a BCS bowl berth. Saturday Night Football presented by Windows 8. Number 18, Texas. Number 6, Kansas State. Saturday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. College football lives here.
Brand names, gold standards for generations. 5 national titles each. Indiana, North Carolina, the iconic coaches and legendary players of the past. Right now, Indiana on the uptick. At the top of the charts, the Hoosiers play North Carolina, part of the ACC Big Ten Challenge. It starts tonight on ESPN. We'll get it going with a very good game. Michigan, number 3 in the country, taking on NC State, a top 20 team as well. With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, this is Mike Tirico.
Every day I'm shuffling.
The Dave Rothenberg Show on ESPN New York, 98.7 FM.
And you saw Eli Manning really look bad in the final couple games before the Giants had their bye. In Cincinnati, he kind of reverted back to that old Eli Manning with the left-handed passes, not being able to, deal with some quick defensive ends. He thought, oh, my goodness, has he reverted back? No, he hasn't reverted back. He had a great game. Now, granted, the Packers' defense is bad, but he still had a great game. That throw to Ruben Randle was a brilliant throw. And again, Akeem Nicks looks like, and he's not going to be at 100% healthy this year, but Akeem Nicks looks like he's getting close to that point. So that's important. Cruz is important. Martellus Bennett is important. And if they can get production from Ruben Randle, and if and when Hickson comes back from injury, the Giants have a ton of playmakers. Now, I think that Andre Brown injury hurts this club because he was kind of their short yardage guy. He was their big physical running back. He was their goal line running back. But the Giants make a couple signings today. Craig Lumpkin from the University of Georgia, who's kind of bandied about the league, and Ryan Terrain, former Redskins running back. And I guess you can look at the Terrain signing and think, is it coincidence that Terrain is signed with the Giants the week before these two clubs play? And you'd say probably not. But Giants, Redskins, which now on Monday night of next week, and of course you can watch it on ESPN, that becomes a monster game for both teams because the Giants can all but finish this division with 4 weeks still to play. We talked about Eli, goes 16 of 30, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, and even a nice run. Now, your first thought when Eli runs the football is, oh, God, don't get hurt. And your second thought is, guy never gets hurt. You can say what you want. You look, Cutler's hurt. Roethlisberger gets hurt all the time. There are quarterbacks around this league that are injury-prone. It's amazing, but Eli is not that guy. And Tom Coughlin, after the game the other day, said, you know what? The rest looked like it did our quarterback pretty good.
There was no doubt that he was going to come back and play well in my mind. I think the rest really helped him as well as all of our other players. And as a matter of fact, Eli said that he felt as if he was coming back for the start of a season again. So I thought that was a very good sign. But I was very confident that he would come back and be Eli.
Well, and he was. And he looked confident, and he threw the ball well, and he had a little more zip on the ball than you had seen down the stretch before that bye for the Giants. You still look at these two schedules. They're side by side here on the wall of the studio. Look at the Jets. Have Cardinals, Jaguars, Titans, Chargers, Buffalo. Right? 4-7, 2-9, 4-7, 4-7, 4-7. Giants have at the Redskins, Saints, at Atlanta, at Baltimore, and then the Eagles. All right, if you're the Giants, if they win 3, they'll win this division. And you'd have to figure that the Saints at home should be a win, and the Eagles at home has to be a win. So if you're the Giants right now, you got to go 1-2 in those 3 road games. If you can make it this Redskins game, that would be it. I mean, this division will be absolutely over. But I think you have to like the Giants' chances because everyone says, well, look out for the Cowboys. The Cowboys are so dangerous, and they're such a talented team. Every time you get to the point with the Cowboys, you say, uh-oh, they're a game back. Look at this club. They shoot themselves in the foot, and they just completely collapse. I mean, they should have lost that game at home against Cleveland. They got destroyed on Thanksgiving by the Redskins. And now everyone says, well, oh, my, look out for the Redskins. RG3 is so good. Well, how about ever getting to the point where look out for the Giants? Giants are a good football team. They're well coached. They have a big-time quarterback. I mean, this is what you want. This is the recipe to succeed in the NFL right now, and the Giants have it. So am I convinced that they're going to make a run and go to the Super Bowl again? No. Because you need fortune and luck and playing the right team at the right time, and everything has to fall into place. But do I think that the Giants have as good a chance of anybody as making a big-time run? Absolutely. Your take on the Giants through 12 weeks right now of the NFL season. Tony in the Bronx, what's your take right now on the Giants?
Hey, man, after 12 weeks, I'm ecstatic to be 7-4. We look at that schedule at the beginning of the season. If you said we were going to be 7-4 at this point, you take it any day. Could get greedy a little bit with that Philly game, maybe get that one back and be 8-3. But I think that if they can if Perry Few could get this defense rocking and rolling, and they can stay healthy. I mean, obviously we're a little thin now at the back position, but if they can stay healthy and get the defense going, I think they can make the playoffs and go in there with some momentum, and then maybe make a run. You got to be lucky though. You got to be healthy. And the defense has got to play, period.
Yep, you're right. And the defense, and that's the thing against the Packers. They made Aaron Rodgers look average. If you can make, I mean, the Packers are not the most talented team in the world anyhow. Their biggest advantage is that their quarterback is so great. If you can make Aaron Rodgers look average, that's it. That's all you need. And that's what the Giants did, and they beat them up. And I mean, the Packers gave up in the game. Now, I'm not saying they quit, but they realized we're not winning the game, and we're not going to put our franchise player under this pass rush for another 20 minutes. So we'll run the ball, we'll run a couple screens, but we're not going to put him under the heat of OC, who played really well. And OC's been, kind of vacant as far as putting pressure on the quarterback this year. Not the other night. He was abusing that Newhouse kid, and he got the one strip sack and the fumble at the end of the first half. The Giants go in and scored the touchdown there to go up 31-10. Kiwanuka played well. Pierre-Paul, I thought, played very well. Tuck played well. I mean, the talent is there, and that's why, at the end of last season, and maybe the Giants are that team that can. Most teams can't turn it on and turn it off. And we always say, it's the one cardinal sin of rooting for a sports team is that you think that they can turn it on and turn it off and you can't do it. Maybe somehow the Giants are that team that can do it. You've never really had that team, but it looks like they can. Whenever you get to the point with the Giants where you say, uh-oh. All right, whenever you get to the point with the Giants where you say, uh-oh, I'm concerned, they answered the bell every single time. And even 2 years ago when they didn't make it to the postseason, they still won 10 games. Now, this is a club right now, and I've said this many times, and I will repeat it because I think it's very important to understand. This is the glory era of New York Giants football. LJ, Long Island, what's your take on these 7-4 Giants, LJ?
I'm loving it right now. It is so easy, like you said, to be a Giants fan right now, but what concerns me, I tell you, I get nervous if I think about the fact that they might not have their back against the wall. They're better as the underdogs. They always play better when people think and expect less of them. If they start to overpromise, it might not pan out well for them. But they're doing great. It's fantastic. It's so easy to be a fan. It's so enjoyable to be a fan. And I'm happy the Jets get all the publicity. Let them. They can talk all they want. We're the team with the 4 championships. We're the team that's 7-4. We're the team that delivers every Sunday. It's a beautiful era.
Yeah, this is a great era to be a Giants fan. I wouldn't say every Sunday. I remember the Giants went 9-7 last year. Lost at home to Seattle, got swept by the Redskins. Giants were 6-4 heading into last week's. But the thing is, and this is not what you'd hope and not the norm, The Giants can, all they need to do, and they've shown this. They showed you in 2007. They showed you last year. All they need to do is make it into the tournament to have as good a chance as anybody. I mean, look what they did 5 years ago. They beat Tampa on the road. They beat Dallas, who won 13 games on the road, and they beat the Packers, who won 13 games on the road. And, oh, yeah, to follow it off, they beat an undefeated Patriots team. And then last year, they did the same thing. I mean, the same exact thing. They beat the Packers, who were 15-1. They beat the Niners, who were 13-3, and they beat the Patriots again. I mean, it's really, when you think about it, and we talk Jets all the time because that is the dysfunctional club that we have here football-wise in New York. But when you think about what the Giants have done, it is an unbelievable run. Now, it doesn't mean they won't come out and get beaten up by the Redskins because, I don't think the Giants are this unbelievably talented team. I mean, they're very talented, but I think there's other teams that have similar talent to the Giants. They just seem to turn it on when they really need to. And, yes, that can be dangerous, but how can you argue with the recipe of winning 2 Super Bowls in the last 5 years? Phil in New Jersey. You're on ESPN New York. What's up, Phil?
Hey, man, how you doing today?
Good.
Hey, listen, I just want to say, same position every year with the Giants. Look, I'm not going to be the one to say we're the best team in the league, but we are definitely the scariest team in the league. The 3 best teams in the league, you can honestly say, are the Patriots, the Packers, and the Niners. 8 of our last 20 games have been.
How about the
against those
Texans?
3.
You leave the Texans off that list?
I do. I really do. Because you know what? They're just like Atlanta. They're going to get to the playoffs, and they're going to get punched in the mouth. Plain and simple. I think the quarterback play is a big part of why Houston is not going to take that next step. Arian Foster is good, but when you get to the playoffs, people game plan. They're going to go up against Bill Belichick. They're going to go up against Harbaugh. They're going to shut Foster down. I've seen it happen before. Okay, they almost lost. The Ravens. I don't know.
Yeah, look, Phil, I actually happen to agree with you as far as the Texans are concerned. I think that they're the big bully. The thing is, I don't think the AFC is that good. So you could tell me that they're not good, and they could still make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you can. But like I said, it's the Patriots, the Packers, and the Niners. We are 6-2 against those teams. 8 of our last 20 games have been against the best teams in the league, and we've lost the 2 games by 3 and 7. That's why we're not the best team, because we lay an egg against Cincinnati, but we're the scariest team because we'll steamroll the Niners and steamroll the Packers. Okay?
I appreciate the call, Phil, and I guarantee you, if you brought Jim Harbaugh into a room and said cameras are off, audio devices are off, no one will ever find out about this. What team would you like to not make it to the postseason in the NFC? That they fall on their face the last 5 weeks and they don't make it? He'd say the Giants. Every coach of every team would say that because the Giants have proven that there is nothing that gets in their way that's too big that they can't get by. There's nothing too big for this club. The Packers come in. It's a pick-em game. It's not competitive. The Packers couldn't stand on the same field as the Giants on Sunday night. Now, we'll see, because this is another one of these games on Monday night that the Giants have to answer the bell. Now, if they can answer the bell on Monday, things get a lot easier for this club. But right now, through 12 weeks of the season, if I said to you the Giants are my favorite for the Super Bowl, can you argue with that? If I said to you the Falcons are? If I asked you right now, you can have any team in the NFL, right now to win the Super Bowl. One, who are you taking? Any club in the NFL right now to win the Super Bowl, who are you taking? 1-800-919-3776. Dave Rothenberg with you on ESPN New York 98.7 FM.
Mike Greenberg on his beloved Jets.
This era of Jets football was mildly successful, vastly overhyped, completely unclassy, much too noisy, and never nearly as good as it thought it was. And it ended Thursday. It needs to be completely broken down and started all over again from the very top. And I really hope that the owner will do it, and I'm very worried that he will not.
Mike and Mike, mornings at 6 on ESPN New York, 98.7 FM.
is right, big man, because you hold the future in the palm of your hand. Introducing the revolutionary Black & Decker Gyro Screwdriver. Just grip and twist, and this bad boy's motion sensing technology will drive screws in and reverse them out. Turn your wrist to access variable speeds of awesomeness and get your projects done right the first time. So put a little wow in your weekend. You'll love yourself for it.
Hi, it's Colin Cowherd. Meetings are essential to the way we work. It's an opportunity to share ideas and problem solve, develop creative solutions. But if your team is spread out all over the country in different locations, coming together can be impossible unless you use GoToMeeting with HD Faces. It's a powerfully simple way to meet and collaborate online. I've seen how clear the HD video quality is. It is amazing. No matter where everybody's located. I was in Bristol, Connecticut. They were in Los Angeles. GoToMeeting allowed us to share the same screen, making it easier to be on the same page. And with built-in HD video conferencing, you see each other face-to-face. So easy to launch, so easy to join a meeting from anywhere, on any computer. In fact, you can use a tablet or your phone. And now you can present it from your iPad. Try GoToMeeting free for a month, 30 days. Special offer, visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, use the promo code Colin. Remember to use the promo code Colin. GoToMeeting. Meeting is believing.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Colin Cowherd.
Some things are bigger than you even imagine they'd ever be. You know they're big going in, and it's bigger than you thought. Like divorce. I mean, you know it's bad. Got to split your finances. But some people's lives are ruined with divorces. It's bigger. It's got more tentacles than you even think going in. And you know going in it's going to be a nightmare. It's the same way with quarterbacks in the NFL. Yeah, they're valuable. Yeah, we get they're valuable. No, Pittsburgh can't score without Big Ben. The Bears can't score without Jay Cutler. I mean, has anybody really watched what's happened to the quarterback position? The Indianapolis Colts were the worst team in the league last year. They're going to make the playoffs now. It's the same roster. A bunch of rookie receivers like T.Y. Hilton. If that doesn't provide proof how valuable quarterback is, nothing does. The Colts, the Bears, and the Steelers.
Trending now. Eagles fall again. Cuban rips NBA marketing. Giants Bennett saves falling fan. It's what's trending now on ESPN Radio and ESPNRadio.com.
I'm a good gift giver. No, a fantastic gift giver. What do I get in return? An unnecessary cheek pinch. I deserve more. So this year, I'm giving Buffalo Wild Wings gift cards. For every $25 I spend, I can get a blazing bonus worth up to $100. So the next time I hear, oh, that's so sweet, it better be referring to honey barbecue sauce. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. No purchase necessary. Must be 18 or older. Valid in restaurant at participating locations only in Boynton, Florida, New York, Rhode Island, and where prohibited by law. Ends 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on December 31st, 2012. See official rules at BuffaloWildWings.com for restrictions and details.
I'm Dave Rothenberg with your ESPN New York Sports Center, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. Round out your holiday shopping with America's favorite coffee. Get 3 pounds of Dunkin' Donuts smooth, flavorful coffee for just $19.99. Hurry in today. America runs on Dunkin'. NFL news, multiple sources reporting that the Giants have signed free agent running backs Ryan Terrain and Craig Lumpkin. Both players will bolster depth at the position after the club lost Andre Brown for the season with a broken leg. Knicks and Nets kicked off their season series in grand fashion last night, with the Nets coming away with the overtime victory. Now, despite the loss, Knicks coach Mike Woodson enjoyed having so many Knicks fans at the Barclays Center.
We did have a bunch of wonderful Knicks fans in their building, and would have been really nice to win in front of those people, but we didn't get it done, and we got to move on. That's just one game. The bottom line, at the end of the day, we're still sitting at the top of our division, and that's where we want to stay.
Woodson was a guest with Stephen A. Smith and Ryan Rucco earlier today. Both New York and Brooklyn off tonight. Knicks back in action Wednesday night against Milwaukee. Team will once again be without point guard Jason Kidd. Did not travel with the club. Remains day-to-day with back spasms. Nets also return to action tomorrow night against the Celtics. In Major League Baseball news, our very own Buster Olney is reporting that left-handed starter Andy Pettitte is close to a new deal with the Yankees. That would be in the $11 million range. And our very own Adam Rubin reporting the Mets have offered third baseman David Wright a 7-year extension. Also, sad news from baseball, Marvin Miller, first director of the MLB Players Association, passes at 95.
Wiggle, 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 yeah.
Dave Rothenberg Show on ESPN New York, 98.7 FM.
Looky here what the cat has dragged in. Ray Lucas makes an appearance. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Did you have a nice holiday?
Yeah.
You had a rough sports week, though, haven't you?
I had 60 Cubans at the crib.
60?
60, no lie, no exaggeration.
What do you live in, some like the Taj Mahal? How can you get 60 people into your house?
I got a very small house. We had the windows open. It was hot as hell in there, but we ate good.
Who cooks for 60?
Well, a little bit of everybody. Wifey cooked. I cooked. Her mom, her aunt. So we ate good. But then I almost threw it up after the Jet game. So
that was a heck of a game. I mean, you had Jets getting beaten by 30 and Rutgers getting embarrassed on the road.
It wasn't embarrassing for Rutgers. Take it easy.
It's lost by
Jets,
21 points,
all
right?
But it's a bad day.
All right.
9-2, baby. That's happens.
All right. Let me go back here.
Start over. Why don't we start over? Can
I take you to task on something else?
All right, go ahead.
All right, it was not even football related. So I see you're Thanksgiving night, you're tweeting all the Jets and nauseous. I can throw out my turkey. This is disgusting. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't spoken to Ray in a while. I'm going to send you a tweet. And all I said, I didn't give you a hard time. I said, hey, bud, happy Thanksgiving. Can't wait to catch up. Hope things are well.
I don't read the tweets.
What do you mean you don't read your tweets?
Well, because when I get aggravated like that, I just tweet because I'm angry. I don't read because then it'll probably make me more angry.
So I was extending an olive branch of haven't seen you. Hope you're well.
You know
kind
what?
of miss you.
Belated. Happy Thanksgiving to you, and I missed you too.
All right. Yeah. Good. So we're back good?
We're back good.
All right. We've been talking Giants. Would you like to talk about a team that's kind of clicking on all cylinders there?
They got their good victory against a very good Packer team, which has an offensive line that probably Mark Sanchez wouldn't want to get behind, but you got to give credit to the Giants. Their front seven, Blackburn was amazing.
He was. They blitzed
really
well.
He was amazing, and they got to the quarterback with the front seven. And anytime you do that, you don't have to cover that long in the secondary. And plus, when you don't have the ball in your hand to throw it, Rodgers was under pressure.
They took him completely out of his game. And I thought the thing that was so impressive for me with the Giants is, I mean, listen, the Packers, if you look past Aaron Rodgers, they're a pretty average football team.
Well, they're one-dimensional.
He happens to be unbelievable. But they got so much pressure on him that the Packers basically said, when this was, 31-10, 38-10, you know what, forget it. Right? We're just going to run the ball. We want to get out of here and keep our quarterback healthy.
Absolutely.
We're not playing this game. We're going to get our quarterback hurt.
Absolutely. And the key to beating the Packers is the same key to beating the Patriots. If you let Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady stand on the spot, they're surgeons. They will cut your defense apart.
Because both teams have horrendous defenses.
Correct.
Both teams have been successful turning you over, but they can't really stop you. Their way of stopping you is by turning you over.
Right. Or you have to outscore them, basically, to win.
And really, when you look around the league, the Giants are the only club that has consistently beaten the Packers and the Patriots.
Yeah. And convincingly so, and it's because of the front seven. And when Eli plays error-free football and he doesn't turn the football over, when people are actually catching his passes instead of dropping them, he's very effective. And I think the Giants desperately needed that win to know that, the train is back on the track, so to speak.
And nobody better to ask than you, who's sitting by my side here, about Eli Manning, and you heard so much of, his arm was so fatigued. And is that nonsense?
It's ridiculous. That's nonsense. Complete nonsense. I mean, you don't get to the NFL and not be ready to throw 8,000 passes in a season. I mean, he's built that way. That's ridiculous.
So, but here's the thing. You watch him after a week off, and he was much better. So how do you correlate that?
And not making excuses for Eli in the past weeks, but, he didn't have a home to go to from what I understand. And Hoboken got crushed with Hurricane Sandy. And it's hard enough to concentrate on football when there's, other outside things that are pretty big. I mean, losing cars and flooding and not having a place to stay. Is the heat back on? Can I go home? It does take an effect. That being said, Eli wasn't very good those couple of weeks.
He was bad for 2 weeks in a row.
He was not very good at all.
I hate to say this, but I think in the Giants case it may be true. And this is like something that's the adage of what you don't want to do and you don't want to be. Are the Giants a club that actually can turn it on and off?
I don't think any team could do that. Turn it on and off.
But look at what they do.
Well, when you have a rest and you get away from football and you can take care of things outside the field, and the best thing I heard all week was the fact that Justin Tuck had a meeting, players-only meeting, and basically told everybody stop drinking the Kool-Aid. What have they done yet? They haven't done anything yet. And I think that brought some people, I don't know who he was referring to, but brought some people back down to ground level where, there's a lot more work that needs to be done before anything else, before you can crown anybody.
Yeah, but and this just kind of shows you of how close this league is. The Giants go into Cincinnati and get destroyed. I mean, taken behind the woodshed and embarrassed at the highest of levels. Yeah. And then they get a week off and they come back and they do the same thing to the Packers.
Which is saying something. It was a statement.
You just look at how close everything is in this league, and it really is.
Oh, on any given Sunday you could get beat if you're not bringing your A game. And that's just a fact. It was that way when I played. It's that way now. It'll always be that way.
I think it's more so now because I think when you were playing, and even before, I mean, listen, early 90s, the Cowboys were incredible, and the Niners were phenomenal because it wasn't the same free agency that there is now.
You didn't have people jumping all over the place. Right. I mean, when you have a team with Emmitt Smith, Michael Irving, Joe Novacek, who was the tight end? Novacek and Johnson at fullback. I mean, come on. And those big fatties up front, Allen, he was benching a house at the time, 500 and something pounds for reps. I mean, those were the good old days.
All right. Kareem in New Jersey agrees with you. The Giants can't turn it on and off. Right, Kareem?
Yeah, that's a lot of Giants fans, you really kill me with your delusional, the things you say.
Oh, what killed you that I said, Kareem?
What killed me is exactly what you're saying about them playing, them turning it on and off.
Well, it kind of seems like they do, though, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. It seems exactly the opposite. They play up and down to their competitors all the time for at least the past 2.5 years. Okay, so, and last year I give it to them they stepped up their game in the playoffs. I'm a Jets fan, but it was a beautiful thing to see. It was, for them to go 8-8 and then step in the playoffs and do what they did, it was amazing. But they really sometimes, I think their coach really kind of has to. Sometimes he may let off a little bit, but I think he goes in there and whips them together and tells them, listen, you guys can't play down to these teams, and then they come back and then they destroy whoever's in front of them. So I think they're very easily motivated. But as far as turning it off and on, I really disagree with that wholeheartedly.
All right, well, Ray Lucas agrees with you wholeheartedly. And, I've spoken to people on this club, and they say that, guys may not bring it at 100% every week, but Coughlin has more intensity and readiness and motivation than anybody they've ever seen.
For a 65-year-old man, he brings it every single day, and he doesn't settle for anything but the strive for perfection. And for a guy at that age to be doing what he's doing says a lot about him. And, he learned from his past mistakes. I remember when Michael Strahan was on that team, and it was like they were kids.
Tough. He was too tough.
You couldn't take your suit off when you got to the hotel. You had to have, no open sandals shoes. Mm-hmm. That's college stuff. But like any good head coach, he adapted. Because if you don't have your finger in the pulse in the locker room, they're not going to play for you. Plain and simple. End of story. And I think he's done a great job of, kind of letting some stuff go but staying tough on other things that he just won't allow.
Right. He's not easier, but he's softer than he used to be.
Correct. And yeah, I agree with you, 100. That's a great word.
I have a friend I used to host in Raleigh, and a friend of mine down there played at NC State and played for Tom Coughlin at Jacksonville.
Right.
And he said he hates him. He said he hates him because and this was the time before Coughlin adjusted.
Facial hair.
He said it was impossible because if you were 4 minutes early to a meeting, you were late. Everything that we've heard was exactly true. So I think he's softened. I think he's kind of changed his ways, and there's no arguing the success. And now if you're a player in this league and you're going to play for Tom Coughlin, you have to buy into this system.
Oh, without a doubt. And let's not forget, the organization is an A-class organization.
Right.
I mean, it starts, I usually say, the fish sticks from the head down. Well, they don't have that problem because it's a first-class organization. It always has been. And I don't think they'll settle for anything but the best. And the fact that if Tom Coughlin wanted to be successful, he had to change.
And he did. And the Giants have been very successful. And they're 7-4 with a brutal 5-game stretch to finish up the season. What, if anything, still doesn't look right about the Giants to Ray Lucas? He'll tell us that next. Dave Rothenberg and Ray Lucas with you on ESPN New York 98.7 FM.
This is the Mike Lupica Show.
The Giants' best game, their best, is better than Atlanta's best, Houston's best, San Francisco's, New England's, anybody you care to mention. The question is, are the Giants fully engaged now, and are they going to stay engaged the rest of the way?
The Mike Lupica Show, weekdays at noon, ESPN New York, 98.7 FM. The Fantasy Minute.
I'm Christopher Harris. Colin Kaepernick has taken over the 49ers quarterback job and isn't looking back. He's got 4 rushing touchdowns, including one Sunday against the Saints, and has scored double-digit fantasy points in each of his past 3 games. Not only should you add Kaepernick if he's still available in your league, but you can strongly consider starting him too. Noshawn Moreno was a surprise starter for the Broncos Sunday, as the team apparently doesn't trust Ronnie Hillman in pass protection. Moreno got 24 touches against the Chiefs. While I'm skeptical Moreno will be super productive, he looks like the smartest bet going forward. He can be added in all leagues. Finally, how about those wideouts from tiny Mount Union College? Pierre Garçon and Cecil Shorts. Shorts has double-digit fantasy points in 5 of his past 6 games, while Garçon's foot finally started to look healthy on Thanksgiving Day. You'd probably rather start Shorts than Garçon at this point, but each guy has pretty big upside considering they come from such a small school. Be sure to check out my podcast, The Fantasy Underground, available on iTunes and at ESPN.com/PodCenter.
The Fantasy Minute.
Progressive Insurance presents Flo's newest song. We compare rates to give you confidence.
We compare rates to find you a great deal, so you can be even more confident. Not that you need more confidence. I'm sure you're a great person with great posture, and you probably look really good in corduroy pants, which isn't easy.
Comparing rates to help you save. Visit Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations.
Do not be alarmed, but I am on the roof of your car right now. I just found out Little Caesars has hot and ready pizza and wings, which means I don't have to call ahead or wait. Sorry I had to get you involved, but I needed a ride. It's only $6 for hot and ready Caesar wings and $5 for a large hot and ready pepperoni pizza. If I'm not on the roof when you get there, I've fallen off, but do not come looking for me. Just go in and enjoy the wings and pizza. Thanks.
Pizza. At participating locations, plus tax.
Norm Miller here, chairman of Interstate Batteries. Now, I don't mean to brag, but I recently learned auto technicians prefer Interstate Batteries 5-to-1 over any other battery. Oh, who am I kidding? Of course I mean to brag. 5-to-1, that's a landslide. All right, I'm done bragging. To find the dealer near you that prefers us, head to interstatebatteries.com. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable. And that's not bragging, it's just the truth.
Last week on The Sporting Life on ESPN Radio. How technology changes the way we watch the NFL.
Just the feeling of kind of information completeness. You know, there's nothing missing.
We eavesdropped on a conversation with a legendary Notre Dame coach, Ara Parsegian.
I was so smart. I've been brilliant in my lifetime in recruiting. With Joe Montana coming up through the ranks, I retired.
E60 brought us a tragic on-field injury that required leg amputation but didn't end Jacob Rainey's football career.
What made you think you could do this?
Kind of want to set a new standard for people with amputations, I guess.
We learned that no matter what the Panthers' struggles are on the field, Greg Olsen knows what truly matters in life.
If you focus on the negative, you'll just drag down. The negative will never change.
Download this and every edition of The Sporting Life on iTunes and on ESPNradio.com.
Listen, you've heard me say it. Teddy, the Huggable Dealer, is the place to go for the best deal on a new car or certified pre-owned car, period. But hold up, this event, even I can't believe. It's the Teddy Black Friday sales event, extended through today. I'm telling you, you'll never get a chance to drive a new car for less. Drive a new Nissan for only $69 a month with absolutely zero due at signing. All you do is pay for your miles. That's right. You heard it correctly. Brand new Nissans, only for $69 a month. Zero down, zero first month payments, and zero bank fees. Absolutely zero due at signings. Teddy, the Huggable Dealer, Volkswagen and Nissan in the Bronx, online at teddycars.com. Come in for a hug and choose from hundreds of new vehicles starting at just $69 a month. All from Teddy Nissan, the Huggable Dealer.
The Dave Rothenberg Show on ESPN New York, 98.7 FM.
And Ray Lucas is here. Usually your Thursday, but what is Rutgers?
Hugest. The biggest game in the history of Rutgers football.
So they win this game. This is Big Ten bound Rutgers, of course, right?
Oh, yeah, which will be our 10th win. Big Ten, get it? It all ties in together.
So now Rutgers wins this game and they're a BCS club.
We're BCS bound.
I heard a couple of teams that are talking about Rutgers playing, and it scares me. If they were either Florida or Florida State.
I would love to play Florida State.
That'd be a very unattractive game.
Why do you think so?
I think they beat you guys by 2 touchdowns.
I'll take that bet for dinner for the next year.
You already owe me a dinner.
For tonight.
Right now, I'm deliberating what I even want to get from the last time you owe me dinner.
Let me get this straight, though. For the last 3 weeks before this week, was I one buying dinner?
Yes.
No, you were.
Right, I was buying dinner for you.
Okay.
Yes, I understand. I think we're about even on the year.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah, I would think so.
And our big bet on the year is what? Patriots getting to 11?
Well,
how do you feel with that now?
I don't feel too good about that. I don't. I mean, they should have lost against Buffalo. It's all should have, would have. But Tom Brady's Tom Brady.
All right, we're going to get into the Jets, 8 o'clock, top of the hour, and I know you're going to have some strong statements about them. We're also going to have some tickets to give away for the Jets and the Cardinals, so stay tuned for that, and it'll be a fun little giveaway for. What are you laughing about?
I don't even know if anybody's going to want those.
They're going to want them. Free tickets to a game? Fireman Ed might not want them, but other Jets fans may.
Hey, he's done a great thing. He's a great person.
He's a great man. He's a great humanitarian.
Yeah, I remember coming into the Jets territory when I was playing for the Dolphins, and coming back to play the team that let you go. I was very excited, angry. Let angry play, and I remember him yelling my name, and I went over to the wall, and he actually shook my hand. And we've been friends ever since then. And, a lot of people hate, but, when you're doing something that everybody wants to do, you got a lot of haterade going on. So everybody needs to sip the haterade, knock it off, and worry. It's comical, the stuff I'm seeing on Twitter.
Let's move towards the Jets in about 10 minutes right now. Let's focus on the Giants. They looked really, really good on Sunday night.
Yeah.
But is there one thing that you look at with the Giants, or you say, I'm not so sure about this? This worries me?
It's secondary. Webster... hot and cold.
Oh, he got burned by Jordy Nelson on that play.
But bad. But here's the thing. I mean, if that's what Giant fans have to worry about, I mean, if your front seven come to play, and there was a stretch of games where they're all four of them, OC, JPP, Tuck, they all were non-existent. And if they don't get pressure on the quarterback, your secondary is not strong enough to cover for a long period of time. But here's the pros and cons. If they do come to play like they did against the Packers, they'll have picks galore because, quarterbacks are going to throw the ball before they're ready. Mm-hmm. And, that's the way they'll be opportunists. But if they have to cover for a long time, I think that's the weakest point for the Giants is their secondary.
Now, Corey Webster, you talk about, we'll hear from Kenny Phillips in just a moment as he talks about what we discussed, turning it on and off. But when you look at Corey Webster, I mean, first of all, does this guy think he has safety help on every play? I mean, every time he gets beat, he doesn't get beat. He gets beat by like 4 miles, or he has to imagine that safety help is on the way.
Well, here's the thing. When you're playing man-to-man coverage, there's no help, period. And it's interesting when you watch Corey Webster, how he opens his hips one way or the other. Sometimes I think the receiver is denoting which way he opens up, which is putting him at a disadvantage. When you're a press corner, you're supposed to play face up and force the receiver to go where you want them to go. I think, he's a good, really good cover corner. Don't get me wrong.
I think he's on the other side of it, though.
But he's not, I don't know if it's strong enough or quick enough. I don't know what that is. But, I mean, when he is on his game, he could be put up in the upper 10 echelon of cover corners.
But you saw Corey Webster. I mean, you saw both sides of him on Sunday.
He gets beat like a drum.
Right, and you saw that when Jordy Nelson is, so wide open that it was embarrassing. And then you see him come up with maybe one of the game-changing plays with a big interception off of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's hot and cold in the secondary. And Amukamara, too, is another guy who sometimes comes to play and sometimes doesn't. I mean, he's not physical at the point of attack like Webster is. But, again, if you get your front seven, and, Blackburn having a big impact on the game, that's just another weapon that people haven't even spoken about.
And I want to hear your take, and I want to give mine on Chase Blackburn in a moment. Let's hear from Kenny Phillips talking about this club turning it on and off.
I guess that's how it seems, from outside looking in, but that's definitely not our mentality. We want to go out each week and, bring our best game. For the most part, sometimes it just don't happen. It seems like we don't show up, but that don't mean that we're not focused or we're not out there trying to get the job done. It's just sometimes that's how it works out.
That's earlier today on Stephen A. Smith and Ryan Rucco. And yeah, I mean, listen, he gives the right answer, but you can't imagine he was going to come on and say, yeah, that's right. Sometimes we turn it on and sometimes we turn it off.
Well, like I said before, when I played, there was games that we just came out and we were flat, but that wasn't the way we came out of the tunnel. I mean, sometimes that's the way it goes in football. I mean, if you're not playing your A game, it's going to make you look a lot worse. And in the Giants' case, it's like they don't get beat by 3, beat by 20. And, you know, you could say turn it on, but that's impossible. As a former player, you come to play every single game ready to rock and roll.
How long did it take you to realize during the early part of the game, we've got it, or, you know, we don't have it?
For me, I would say in the first 25 plays, I would know. For the first 10 plays, you run the plays that are called so you can see what the check is. If I'm having a good running game, you know, if I got Curtis Martin, he's picking up 5 yards a clip, and I'm on throwing the football, and I know the defense is going to, you know, you just know it. You feel it. Some games it's harder to tell than others. It's a battle of wills, and that's when you know what a good team is in the fourth quarter. When it's a tough game and you win it in the fourth quarter, you have, number one, a mentally strong team. You have a team that's conditioned enough to go the distance. And then the other part of it is the mental part is they know they can win. And a lot of times in the fourth quarter, that's good enough that they know they can win. Then they will impose their will. That's, to me, is a sign of a very good team.
Was there ever a game where you went out there and you're like, I do not want to be here? You have a yes in there. You just didn't want to say it.
My first game I ever played against the Colts, we were doing damage up and down the field, and I made a bad throw, and we were going to win the game. I threw a pick outside the red zone, probably from the 45, and they went down and they scored to win the game. That was one where I didn't even want to go into that locker room. Like, I felt like I let everyone down. You know, young guy coming in, you know, I got to take care of the football. But like I said before, with experience, you get better at that kind of stuff. But, yeah, that was one game where I was like, I don't want to go in that locker room.
We have about a minute, and I want to ask you about Chase Blackburn. Have you ever seen a guy that is sitting on his couch watching the NFL last year? The Giants have so many injuries. They pick up the phone, they call him, and they can't get him out of the lineup. I mean, he's such a difference maker that they have to play him now.
Well, he's a guy that I like a lot.
He's your kind of guy.
Yeah, he's, you know, that lunch pail kind of guy that nobody really gave a chance. And the next thing you know, he's in the Super Bowl and he's making tackles all over the place. And like I said before, I think he's very underrated. You know, you don't really hear too much about him, and those are the guys that, you know, are really doing the work. But especially on that defense, everywhere you go, there's a star around the place. But he's a guy that comes and does work every single game. But I think they're actually drawing stuff up for him to have an impact on the game.
Well, they blitzed him once the other night, and he got to Rodgers and brought him down for a big sack. And the Giants got to him 5 times the other night. Now, I agree with you.
A lot more, too.
Oh, they were all over him. He was very uncomfortable. And listen, you could be the most, you know, confident, you know, non-scared quarterback in the world. If you get these guys coming at you and getting close to you play after play after play, it affects you.
Well, here's the other thing, too. When you get hit, you know, to get up, and early in the game, it's not hard to get up. But after the third quarter getting smacked, trying to get up off that ground, it feels like it's a lot harder to get up because you feel like you got to go 50 yards to get up. And not to mention the fact that as a quarterback, you sometimes get shell-shocked. And that's, you know, a lot of quarterbacks won't admit it, but you do, because sometimes you peak at the D lineman, and in that one split second, your timing's off with your wide receiver.
Even the Aaron Rodgers
quarterbacks. It
doesn't matter.
No way.
If you're a quarterback in this league, you're human.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, the Jets clearly are human. They did a lot wrong on Thanksgiving night. What bothered Ray Lucas the most? We'll get into that next. Dave Rothenberg and Ray Lucas with you on ESPN New York, 98.7 FM.
Mike Greenberg on his beloved Jets.
This era of Jets football was mildly successful, vastly overhyped, completely unclassy, much too noisy, and never nearly as good as it thought it was. And it ended Thursday. It needs to be completely broken down and started all over again from the very top. And I really hope that the owner will do it, and I'm very worried that he will not.
Mike and Mike, mornings at 6 on ESPN New York, 98.7 FM.
I'm a good gift giver. No, a fantastic gift giver. What do I get in return? An unnecessary cheek pinch. I deserve more. So this year, I'm giving Buffalo Wild Wings gift cards. For every $25 I spend, I can get a blazing bonus worth up to $100. So the next time I hear, oh, that's so sweet, It better be referring to honey barbecue sauce. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. No purchase necessary. Must be 18 or older. Valid in restaurant at participating locations only. And void in Florida, New York, Rhode Island, and where prohibited by law. Ends 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on December 31st, 2012. See official rules at BuffaloWildWings.com for restrictions and details.
Hi, it's Colin. 1-800-Flowers.com knows that Thanksgiving is a special time to spend with family and friends. That's why they've created beautiful centerpieces that bring smiles to your Thanksgiving celebration. They're amazing. 1-800-Flowers.com Thanksgiving Harvest Centerpiece was created just for this holiday. It's a handcrafted autumn centerpiece. Has a bounty of roses, sunflowers, lilies, and more. Sending this gift brings warmth to any room and color to any Thanksgiving celebration, even if you can't be there in person. For a limited time, when you order the Thanksgiving Harvest Centerpiece from 1-800-Flowers.com. Use my name and you'll receive a free upgrade to a larger centerpiece for just $29.99, a $10 savings. That means more beautiful flowers and a larger centerpiece for free. Plus, it's available for same-day delivery. How sweet is that? Don't wait. Order it now. A Thanksgiving arrangement nobody will soon forget. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com from your desktop or mobile device. Click on the radio mic upper right side, enter Colin. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, enter Colin, or call 1-800-Flowers and mention my name.
Hey, it's Cola coming up Wednesday on Mike and Mike, 9:30 Eastern. ESPN college football analyst Kirk Herbstreit will tell us who has the best chance of winning the SEC championship and facing Notre Dame in the BCS title game. That's all Wednesday. Mike and Mike, ESPN Radio, ESPNradio.com.
For more than 75 years, one award has been synonymous with excellence. December 8th, a new name will be forever linked to college football's highest honor. Will it be Kansas State's Colin Klein, Notre Dame's Manti Te'o, USC's Marquise Lee, Ohio State's Braxton Miller, or Texas A&M's Johnny Manziel? The Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Nissan. Saturday, December 8th at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Player subject to change.
I'm Dan Kelly, owner of Go Time Fitness. I'm always trying to stay top of mind with my customers, and Constant Contact has the tools to help me do that. They make it so easy. So when my daughters started a business of their own, Constant Contact was the best advice I could give them.
Dad, we're 9. It's a lemonade stand.
Never too early to start.
From deals to events, social to email, Constant Contact can help you grow your business. Find the solution that's right for you at ConstantContact.com.
I'm Dave Rothenberg with your ESPN New York Sports Center, brought to you by Lugo Cafe on West 33rd Street between 7th and 8th. Open Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. and Saturday from 5 p.m. until 10 p.m. NFL news, multiple sources reporting the Giants have signed not one but two running backs, both Ryan Terrain and Craig Lumpkin. Both players will bolster depth at the position after the club lost Andre Brown for the season with a broken leg. Knicks and Nets kicked off their season series in grand fashion last night. Nets coming away with a victory in overtime. And despite the loss, Knicks coach Mike Woodson enjoyed having so many Knicks fans on the road at the Barclays Center.
We did have a bunch of wonderful Knicks fans in their building, and would have been really nice to win in front of those people. But we didn't get it done, and we got to move on. That's just one game. The bottom line, at the end of the day, we're still sitting at the top of our division, and that's where we want to stay.
Now, Woodson was a guest earlier today with Stephen A. Smith and Ryan Ruocco, both New York and Brooklyn off tonight. Knicks back in action tomorrow night on the road in Milwaukee. The team will once again be without point guard Jason Kidd, who did not travel with the club and remains day-to-day with back spasms. Nets also return to action tomorrow night on the road up in Boston. Our Buster Olney reporting Yankees are close to a new deal with lefty starter Andy Pettitte. The deal will be in the range of $11 million for 1 year. Our very own Adam Rubin reporting the Mets have offered third baseman David Wright a 7-year extension. Sad news from the world of baseball. Marvin Miller, first director of the MLB Players Association, passes away at 95.
Dave Rothenberg Show on ESPN New York, 98.7 FM.
And Ray Lucas is here. Sometimes things are just so strange, aren't they?
Yes. And that conversation that you just had,
that was a bizarre conversation, wasn't it? All right, let's get to the Jets. It's funny because I hosted Inside the Jets last night, and Jeremiah Bell was there, and I said after the first quarter, Did you feel good? He said, yeah. He said, after the first quarter, we felt great. I mean, listen, you're the Jets. You went up to Foxborough, and you outplayed them. You come out at home, and after one quarter, you were, going neck and neck. You were toe-to-toe with this club. And then in a 1-minute span, this game crumbled in epic fashion.
Yeah, I was at a loss for words, actually, and I'm usually not. But there was some things thrown at the SNY downstairs, and it wasn't.
You take it that serious, though?
Yeah, I mean, when you think that, the defense has played well the last couple of weeks, that they're going to come to play, and, you figure that it's going to be competitive. And to sit there, when I could have been home with my family and have to talk about the Jets after that, it was hard. I mean, I don't like to bash the Jets on a weekend basis, but after that disgrace, what else are you supposed to do?
All right, a lot of things went wrong, right? A lot of turning the ball over. I mean, special teams again fails. So many things. The big play, Shane Vereen, Julian Edelman, you name it. What bothers you the most right now? What one thing bothers you the most about the Jets?
The thing that bothers me the most is that Sanchez in his year 4 is making the same mistakes he made in year 1. He's still throwing interceptions. He's got 6 of them this season. I mean, in the red zone. It's 42 points. Okay, you can't do that. And then to run into the rear end of somebody that's rear end looks like a truck, and you don't see it, and you fumble for a touchdown. I in all my years of Pop Warner in college, high school, in pros, and even doing this for 6 years, I've never seen anything like that.
No, it's a bizarre play. Is you could watch it 30 times, and you still just can't believe that it happened like that.
I really couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, Brandon Moore is not a Victoria's Secret runway model. Okay, he's
fortunately
got 4
for Mark
of those
Sanchez,
standing together, and for you to run into the rear end of them and then fumble the football for I mean, really, like when you think about it, I was going to slide. What you didn't see. Your big lineman standing in front. I mean, he literally ran face first into his...
It was, and the play on so many levels, and I know you say Sanchez is the one thing that's frustrating you the most with the Jets. I want to get back to that, but that one play, let's just talk about it. On so many levels, I mean, first of all, I missed a handoff.
Yeah.
Which in its own right...
And it was Mark's fault. He turned the wrong way.
Which in his own right is inexcusable.
Yeah.
Then he decides, let me run the ball and try and pick up as much as I can. Which
is smart.
Sure it is. If that's what you do. And I don't know if you heard Chris Collinsworth calling the game on Thursday, but Collinsworth kept saying it was Vince Wilfork who completely... that wasn't the case. He ran right into the rear end of his right guard.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. And, I could sit here and say, Mike Tannenbaum is another guy. I mean, if you look at what the Jets were when Rex Ryan first came into this league, this team talent-wise went down every single year.
But whose fault is that?
It's got to fall on Mike Tannenbaum. Some of it has to fall on Rex Ryan. I mean, he came out and said, Quentin Coples is my pick. He hasn't done anything.
Well, it's his first year. Wilkerson didn't do a lot last year, and he's really turned on in year 2.
If you draft a guy to put pressure on the quarterback, and that's the pick you pick, to put pressure on the quarterback, and he has done nothing by putting pressure on the quarterback. You know what the problem is with this team, to be honest with you? When I played for Parcells, even when we were winning, he made sure everybody knew that no one's safe, that if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, that you will be cut on the spot. I think a lot of these Jet players are way too comfortable, with their jobs, knowing that there's not going to be a shakeup. And, I don't want to bash Rex Ryan because he's loyal to his players, and as a former player, I admire that. I mean, I do. But at the same token, you're in the business of winning football games.
It's not about making buddies.
You know what I mean? There's no friend. When you win, everything's great. But when you're on a slide like this, and I get it, he thinks Sanchez is better than Tebow. But when he continually goes out there and makes the same mistakes and put you in a hole, what's the worst thing that can happen? Let's not even get into the fact that Tebow was dressed.
We'll get into that. Let's not even tackle that animal yet. All right, you have your knock and take on Mark Sanchez. Rex, earlier this week on the Michael Kay Show, discussing Sanchez and his mistakes.
Well, it's a rare thing because when you look at him, quite honestly, he very rarely makes mental mistakes, and it's just, obviously it's not acceptable, but it's kind of just the way it went. I mean, it was, here he's, I don't think he's done that the entire season. I don't think he's gone the wrong way with a run the entire season. And it just so happened that that mistake happened. But again, obviously it's not acceptable. We have to make sure it doesn't happen again, and I believe it won't.
All right, here's what frustrates me, and I want your take on it. It's always, we've got to make sure this doesn't happen again. We've got to correct the problems. We are not in September anymore, Ray. We are sitting here with December on the horizon.
This is what bothers me. Rex says he doesn't usually make mistakes. Okay, well, what are 6 picks in the red zone?
Mistakes.
A mistake. Mm-hmm. How about when you're trying to throw the football when you're getting sacked? How many fumbles you've had? Mistakes. And they're continuous. Now, like I said before, he doesn't have anybody around him. And I don't understand how anybody could go into a season. I mean, I always bring it back to the Giants because they always, whatever they do, whatever they bring in, it's to make Eli better. If this is your franchise quarterback, you can't go into a season with an undrafted rookie, second-year guy in Curley, who you were so down on in the preseason. Now, don't get me wrong, Curley has stepped up. Stephen Hill is a rookie. He's not getting open, and when he does get open, he doesn't catch the rock. Will he get better at that? Absolutely. The more game experience he gets, he will. But you don't plan on Santonio going down. But then what do you got? What have you done to help him out?
They have nothing. And listen, Holmes is not. It's not like Holmes is an explosive receiver. He was just the best of what this team had. Do the Giants make the Jets look bad? Like if there was no Giants in this town, would it be a lot easier for the Jets?
No. I mean, I don't think so because I know how Jet fans are. And, a little bit, more, and I'll say it, a little bit more crazy fans than the Giants are. Not in saying, fanatical, but very outspoken people. And they want a winner. And, for them to watch it on a week in and week out basis and then, over the water, you got the Giants who have slides, but, they're always moving to me in the right direction.
Are the Jets not moving in the right direction right now?
I don't think they're moving in the right direction.
So how do you say they're not moving in the right direction. If you're the Jets, how do you move in the right direction?
Well, first of all, a lot of people need to be fired and cut from the team. I mean, you got players that are making a lot of money not doing anything. Calvin Pace is one of them. I mean, he's getting paid a lot of money to put pressure on the quarterback. He didn't have a double-digit sack last year. Granted, he was hurt, but he doesn't have a double-digit sack this year. He's not hurt. I mean, you got guys that are just too comfortable. I mean, Mike Tannenbaum, when I was at the Jets, Parcells called him the genius numbers man. Great guy when it comes to contracts. I don't know who anointed him the draft guru. I really don't. I mean, has he had some good picks? Yeah. But
not in a while, though.
No, but when you go into a season and somebody goes down, you haven't brought in anybody to help Sanchez. So we could beat Sanchez up all we want, but there's a lot of blame that has to fall on other people's feet. And I just think, and maybe I'm old school, and I can't believe I would say that, but you just, on a Parcells team, you weren't safe. I don't care who you were. You could be the top guy. He would sit you down. He didn't care. He wasn't there to make friends. He was there to win. Now, is that a knock on Rex Ryan? Yeah, a little bit. I know he wants to win. When I was in Baltimore, he was a defensive coordinator.
Right. Doesn't everyone wants to win?
Yes.
To say that is, and I don't.
But here's the problem with Rex Ryan. Then you have to make decisions to win.
But Rex, and here's my issue with him, and we can get into this in a moment and really kind of dissect this, is Rex, and I don't want to say more because I don't know that to be true. Rex wants to be friends with his players.
He's a player's coach, yes.
You know what? And
right.
In some way, that may be making things harder on him doing his job because guys think of him as friends, and maybe he's not making the moves that he needs to make. I don't know that that's true, but I know that Parcells wasn't like that. I know that Coughlin's not like that. I know that Cowher wasn't like that.
Who? What was that last one?
Cowher.
Oh, yeah. I thought you said Carroll. I was going to jump across the table at you. I mean, you're right. These kind of coaches, they're in the business to win. But here's the thing, and I do think, a lot of people are calling for Rex Ryan. Said I wouldn't do that. I think Rex Ryan's the right coach. He needs to get some talent around him. First of all, that defense since 2009, they keep letting up more and more points every single year.
And this great rush defense is not a great rush defense anymore.
No, it's not. It really isn't. But who is to blame? I think a lot of it. I think Mr. Johnson's also got to put some shoulder on this thing, too. He's just letting, Mike or Rex, and I might be wrong, he's just letting them run the cupboard.
Problem is he doesn't have to answer to anybody.
Here's the problem. He needs to start denoting down the line of how it goes. Like I said, it stinks from the fish down. If he's upset, then Mike Tannenbaum needs to be upset. And he makes Ryan upset, who in turn makes the players upset, which that means you're fired or you're cut or you're not coming back next year. Let's face it. All these Jets players right now are playing for their job next year. But I don't think they know that.
And I don't know that they are, to be honest with you. You may think they are, but I don't know that, in fact, that they are. All right, you told us your biggest issue with the Jets when we started out this segment. You, out there in Radio Land, your biggest issue right now with the Jets is what? 1-800-919-3776. Your biggest issue with the Jets is what? And I asked Jeremiah Bell last night if Rex has lost the team. I want your take on that, and we'll hear from him as well. Dave Rothenberg and Ray Lucas with you, ESPN New York 98.7 FM.
Jets head coach Rex Ryan, weekly on the Michael Kay Show.
Do you believe that these last 5 games are going to be a referendum on you, and do you feel these last 5 games you're coaching for your job?
If I focus on my situation, that really isn't the priority here. The priority is the players and getting these guys to where we're playing good football and better football and keep improving. I think that's where the priority has to be. You know, I'm certainly not the priority.
Jets head coach Rex Ryan every Monday at 5:15 on ESPN New York 98.7 FM.
Hi, it's the Herd. With the holidays almost here, you don't have time to go to the post office. There's traffic, there's parking. It'll be packed with everybody mailing holiday gifts and packages. What a headache. That's why I recommend Stamps.com. You can avoid all the hassle of going to the post office during the busy holiday season. Don't even try it. I have. You'll regret it. Everything you do at the post office, you can do right from your desk. Like buy and print official U.S. postage using your own computer and printer. Print postage for any letter or any package the instant you need it. Then the mailman picks it up. So easy, so convenient. Right now, special offer. When you use my name, Colin, it's a no-risk trial plus a $110 bonus offer, which includes a digital scale and up to $55 of free postage. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. Click on the radio mic, top of the home page, and type in Colin. Stamps.com, enter Colin.
Sports has always been your passion. Now make it your profession. Enroll in the MS in Sports Business offered by the NYU School of Continuing and Professional Studies, Preston Robert Tisch Center for Hospitality, Tourism, and Sports Management. Learn from top sports business pros and gain an insider's perspective. Call 212-998-7100 or visit scps.nyu.edu/MSSB1. The MS in Sports Business at NYU SCPS. Get in the game.
Wow is right, big man, because you hold the future in the palm of your hand. Introducing the revolutionary Black & Decker Gyro Screwdriver. Just grip and twist, and this bad boy's motion sensing technology will drive screws in and reverse them out. Turn your wrist to access variable speeds of awesomeness and get your projects done right the first time. So put a little wow in your weekend. You'll love yourself for it.
Mike and Mike can't seem to agree on who should be quarterbacking in San Fran.
I'm not saying Kaepernick's a bad quarterback. I like him as a quarterback, and he's going to be the quarterback next year for this team. I just don't know if I'd be upsetting the apple cart right about now in that situation. Maybe it won't.
I think the apple cart got upset by itself.
He wouldn't have upset it. Who upset
Alex Smith getting hurt. They had to put the other guy out there, and they discovered the other guy is better. We're Mike and Mike. He is better.
Mike and Mike in the morning. ESPN Radio and ESPNRadio.com.
This is SEC football. You don't cheer for your team. You live for your team. Passion is worn like a badge of honor. So everyone knows what side you're on. But also because it looks good. The SEC on ESPN collection. Proud to be SEC. Apparel and hats available at Dick's Sporting Goods or online at dicksportinggoods.com. Every season starts at Dick's.
I'm a good gift giver. No, a fantastic gift giver. What do I get in return? An unnecessary cheek pinch. I deserve more. So this year, I'm giving Buffalo Wild Wings gift cards. For every $25 I spend, I can get a blazing bonus worth up to $100. So the next time I hear, oh, that's so sweet, it better be referring to honey barbecue sauce. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. No purchase necessary. Must be 18 or older. Valid in restaurant at participating locations only. And void in Florida, New York, Rhode Island, and where prohibited by law. Ends 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on December 31st, 2012. See official rules at BuffaloWildWings.com for restrictions and details.
Yeah. The Dave Rothenberg Show on ESPN New York 98.7 FM.
Ray Lucas is here as well, and if you're listening closely to the conversation we're having, in about 10 minutes you'll have a chance to win not one, but 2 tickets to the battle between the Jets and the Cardinals. How about the Cardinals? You talk about a team that's just in a free fall.
I mean, Ryan Lindley?
Yeah.
Come on.
And John Skelton is healthy.
I don't get it. I don't really get it. Well, they're not too happy with him. They took him out of a game. They were winning. So either he's got a mouth on him or something happened that we don't know about.
And the Rams hadn't turned anybody over in weeks.
Yeah.
And they turned them over 4 times last week, 2 for touchdowns.
Well, Ryan Lindley's a rookie, 3rd-round draft pick. He hasn't seen too much action. So, he's going to give you some here and there. But
would this be rock bottom if the Jets don't win this game at home against a bad rookie quarterback?
Yeah, pretty much.
They can't afford to lose this game, right?
They can't afford to lose any games. Period.
But this one's, I guess any of these games you look at, these are all bad losses.
I mean,
but this one's specific.
Cardinals,
on a 7-game losing streak.
Tennessee, Chargers, North Turner. You heard of that guy?
Yeah,
Chargers don't scare me. And then at Buffalo, 5 games the Jets could win. But what team is going to show up?
All right. Last night I hosted Inside the Jets. Jeremiah Bell sat down. It was funny. I
like him.
I like him too. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, I like him.
But I said something funny and he completely didn't get it or didn't find it funny. Because have you seen Jeremiah Bell? He's built like a Greek god. I mean, he's
those 2 safeties will turn your head sideways.
So he sits down next to me, and he's sitting there, and I said, you and I are like spitting images of each other with our physiques. And he's like, uh-huh. And I was just joking because, he's in a little better shape than I am. But he didn't go with it as I was hoping he would.
Well, he's probably, not excited about being on a show after the
he was excited, my friend. When he said,
to be next to Dave Rondenberg, that's one thing, but to talk about the Jets
he was
another.
Excited. I asked him last night, I want you to answer after he does, has Rex lost the team?
In no way. Not in any way. I mean, the guys are still together. We're still doing all the right things. We're still practicing hard. The coaches are putting together a great game plan. But, us as players, we're just not executing. We're not making the plays that we should make. We're turning the football over. Defensively, we're not getting off on 3rd down like we should. So, we're just creating problems for ourselves. And until us as players correct that, we're going to continue.
All right, so he blames the players. He says the game plans are great. Everything is really in place. It's us as the players that are not succeeding. Yes,
I
maybe?
agree with that. Yeah, the execution is terrible. And he's right. Can't get off the field on 3rd down. That's a stipend of Rex Ryan, Mike Pettin defense. 3 and out. Get the ball back to your quarterback and turning the football over on offense. Shocker. That's true. And how about special teams? I have never, ever, ever seen a Mike Westhoff special teams look as bad as they have the last 3 weeks.
Let's be honest. Have you ever seen any special teams look as bad as the Jets have the last 4 weeks?
I played on some, and we didn't look that bad.
I mean, this is unbelievable.
No, it's really it's shocking to me. It's as well, and I think Mike Westhoff's probably in the Hall of Fame because he's the best it's ever done in that phase of the game, and that's execution as well. You're running down on kickoff. You can't hold on to the rock.
But it's not like this is a one-time thing.
No, I'm with you. The last 3 weeks,
field
it's been,
goals from 25 yards, fake punts, with Tebow, which are obscene.
Yeah.
The Rams also returned
you
one.
run a fake punt into first defense.
Right. The Rams also returned one for a touchdown, which was called back. The Patriots
phantom holding call.
Right. The first time the Jets went up against the Patriots.
Yeah,
McCourty took one back to the house. Then this time, Edelman recovers a fumble. I mean, it's bad, these special teams now.
It really is. And what once was a deciding factor in games for the Jets is now just one of the 3 that has been awful.
And the worst part of it is, and you know this to be true, the Jets are not good enough. I mean, there are some teams in this league that even if the special teams is not very good, they may be able to get by. Yeah. The Jets are not one of those teams. No. The Jets need everything to work well.
All 3 has to be, to be able to compete,
especially against these big boys.
Yeah,
and to have bad, and that's what you have to say, bad special teams, they're not going to compete against anybody.
Not at all. That's why, this stretch is coming up. We're going to find out.
We are going to find a lot out. All right, you said what your biggest disappointment to the Jets so far this season was. Mike in Somerset, what's your biggest disappointment with the Jets right now?
Hey, gentlemen. Quick comment. Jets have the same problem as the Cowboys. I mean, if you look at all of the teams in the NFL today and in the past that are consistently good, it boils down to, number one, the coaches aren't player coaches, and there's heavy accountability. And Ray, you said it early, same with the Cowboys as with the Jets. There's no fear of losing my starting position, so we can go out and turn the ball over. We can go out and play subpar because there is no fear that someone's going to hold me accountable. And without that, players can basically play below the standard because there is none, and there's no fear that, hey, I don't care what my contract says, that I could be benched. And it's the same problem, again, that the Cowboys have. There's no accountability, and without that, and it starts with the coaching, the general management. I don't care how much talent you have, and I don't care how much the players blame themselves. Those are coaching issues. When players underperform, it can point directly back to the lack of coaching, lack of accountability. You're trying to be players' friends, just like Jason Garrett. And
Mike, let's let Ray give a chance to answer this question. What do you think about that?
I think he's partially right. I mean, the accountability and the friendship, and nobody's worried about losing their job. I definitely agree with that. You could put some of that on Rex Ryan, the coaching, making sure his players know that, But, again, if you're not in fear of losing your job, well, what are you afraid of? If I go out and have a subpar game, I'm not worried.
Right. Should Rex be afraid about losing his job?
Yeah, I would assume so. I mean, this is not how – and, again, this is not how I think, Woody Johnson wants the Jets to be. I mean, you don't ask to be on Thanksgiving night and come out and lay an egg like that. Woody Johnson asked to be.
I know they did.
You put yourself in a situation where every man in the world was sitting down, and to boot, his wife was sitting next to him, and she probably was like, seriously, this is what you watch? This is
what? 5 games to go, Jets are 4-7. If they did what in these final 5, would you say Rex should really be worried?
1-4.
So if they wind up 5-11 with these 5 remaining games, which would be an absolute disaster, would you say that that's right, that he should lose his job, or that's maybe that he will?
That maybe he will.
Should he, under any circumstance this year, should he lose his job?
No.
No matter. How about if the Jets get destroyed over these final 5 games?
No. I mean, if they lose 5 games, he's got to go. But you can't just lay blame on Rex Ryan.
All right. Is he coaching for his job? Here's Rex on the Michael Kay Show.
You know what? If I focus on my situation, that really isn't the priority here. The priority is the players and getting these guys to where we're, playing good football and better football and keep improving. I think that's where the priority has to be. I'm certainly not the priority, and if I'm worried about myself or anything else other than trying to get this football team better, then that's being selfish, and I'm not that type of person.
Is Rex Ryan coaching for his job? Ray Lucas will share that with you next. Dave Rothenberg and Ray Lucas with you on ESPN New York, 98.7 FM.
Mike Greenberg on his beloved Jets.
This era of Jets football was mildly successful, vastly overhyped, completely unclassy, much too noisy, and never nearly as good as it thought it was. And it ended Thursday. It needs to be completely broken down and started all over again from the very top. And I really hope that the owner will do it, and I'm very worried that he will not.
Mike and Mike, mornings at 6 on ESPN New York, 98.7 FM.
Listen, you've heard me say it. Teddy, the Huggable Dealer, is the place to go for the best deal on a new car or certified pre-owned car, period. But hold up, this event, even I can't believe. It's the Teddy Black Friday sales event, extended through today. I'm telling you, you'll never get a chance to drive a new car for less. Drive a new Nissan for only $69 a month with absolutely zero due at signing. All you do is pay for your miles. That's right. You heard it correctly. Brand new Nissans, only for $69 a month. Zero down, zero first month payments, and zero bank fees. Absolutely zero due at signings. Teddy, the Huggable Dealer, Volkswagen and Nissan in the Bronx, online at teddycars.com. Come in for a hug and choose from hundreds of new vehicles starting at just $69 a month. All from Teddy Nissan, the Huggable Dealer.
Do not be alarmed, but I am on the roof of your car right now. I just found out Little Caesars has hot and ready pizza and wings, which means I don't have to call ahead or wait. Sorry I had to get you involved, but I needed a ride. It's only $6 for hot and ready Caesar wings and $5 for a large hot and ready pepperoni pizza. If I'm not on the roof when you get there, I've fallen off but do not come looking for me. Just go in and enjoy the wings and pizza. Thanks.
Pizza. At participating locations, plus tax.
It's ESPN Radio Sports Beat time on a Tuesday. Hi, everyone. This is Mike Tirico. One of the stories of the day, the passing of Marvin Miller, the longtime head of the Major League Baseball Players Association, its executive director during the days that became significant in the sport. Passed away after a battle with cancer. From 1966 to 84, a very long time, and a very changing time in labor relations between players, player unions, and ownership. Marvin Miller headed the baseball guys, put them out front. Free agency, barriers, and terms, conversations that were never had before now became part of the lexicon of American sports. He was a figure that for many caused anger and the strife that came with strikes or lockouts. As players' salaries were rising, so too were the rights for players. The haves and the have-nots started to take shape. Terms like collective bargaining, legal cases got in the way of runs, hits, and errors. It set the template for a lot of the frustration that fans carry about how much does a guy make? What's his guaranteed money as we get into this generation? And look at the National Hockey League labor dispute that today is in mediation. The players in the NHL are being led by Don Fehr, who followed the late Marvin Miller as the head man for the baseball labor dispute. In an individual game, he gave a collective, very loud voice to individuals fighting against owners. Labor rights in America paralleled this cause. He's a significant figure who never stepped between the white lines, and our colleague Tim Kirkjian said it on SportsCenter this morning better than we can. He said you cannot write the history of baseball without Marvin Miller right in the middle of it. So true. To the basketball court after this.
Texas.
Touchdown, Longhorns.
Kansas State.
Tough yards, number 7. He earns them.
Heisman hopeful Colin Klein leads the Wildcats in their quest to capture the Big 12 title and clinch a BCS bowl berth. Saturday Night Football presented by Windows 8. Number 18, Texas. Number 6, Kansas State. Saturday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. College football lives here.
Brand names, gold standards for generations, 5 national titles each. Indiana, North Carolina, the iconic coaches and legendary players of the past. Right now, Indiana on the uptick. At the top of the charts, the Hoosiers play North Carolina, part of the ACC Big Ten Challenge. It starts tonight on ESPN. We'll get it going with a very good game. Michigan, number 3 in the country, taking on NC State, a top 20 team as well. With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, this is Mike Tirico.
I'm Dave Rothenberg with your ESPN New York Sports Center, brought to you by Optimum Business. Save big on high-speed internet and phone service for your business with Optimum Business. NFL news, multiple sources reporting Giants have signed not 1 but 2 free agent running backs, both Ryan Terrain and Craig Lumpkin. Both players will bolster depth at the position after the club lost Andre Brown for the season with a broken leg. Both the Knicks and Nets off tonight after their meeting last night. New York back in action Wednesday night on the road in Milwaukee. Things not improving just yet for point guard Jason Kidd. He did not travel with the team today because of those back spasms that kept him out of action last night. He remains day-to-day. Nets also return to action tomorrow night against Boston. Major League Baseball news, left-handed starter Andy Pettitte close to a new deal with the Yankees. That's according to our very own Buster Olney deal, reportedly in the range of $11 million for 1 year. Our very own Adam Rubin reporting the Mets have offered third baseman David Wright a 7-year contract extension. Sad news from the world of baseball. Marvin Miller, first director of the MLB PA, dies at 95.
The Dave Rothenberg Show on ESPN New York, 98.7 FM.
Has Rex Ryan lost the team? That's the question. We're going to get into that in about 30 seconds. I asked you what bothers you the most right now about this Jets team a little bit ago. And I said if you had the answer to one of the questions I asked Ray, you would have a chance to win 2 tickets to the Jets and the Cardinals. Now's that chance. Don't answer it again, because then you'll give the answer. What bothers Ray the most right now about this team? First caller to get that correct at 212-268-9222 wins 2 tickets to the Jets and Cardinals this Sunday at MetLife Stadium. What bothers Ray Lucas the most about this team? All right, let's discuss what we talked about before. Is Rex coaching for his job?
Yes. I mean, every coach should be coaching for their job every single year, as far as I was concerned. I mean, if you're held to that accountability, I think things would be different. I mean, I know, Coughlin's going to coach the Giants for a long time because he earned it. But, I remember before their Super Bowl run that people were screaming for him to be fired.
People did not, and you talk about a 180.
They were losing their minds.
Coughlin should have been done. And I hosted a show on this station 2012, the last game against the Redskins in 2010. So not last year when they won the Super Bowl, the year before when they won 10 games and they didn't make the playoffs at 10-6. And I hosted a show and I said, do you think Coughlin should be fired? And 80% of the people said, absolutely, it's time to move on from him.
And he wins 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
I mean, I'm not trying to compare apples to oranges here. I mean, I think as a general manager, you need to put the fear of God in your head coach, that he needs to, be held to a certain standard or you get fired. And I think the head coach should hold the players to the same exact standard. If you do not produce at all, producing to where we think you are, you're not safe. You will be cut.
So you think for the most part, let me get this straight, that Rex, unless things just dissolve to unknown lengths over the final 5 games, should be back next year?
I think he gets another year.
All right, next year, if it is the case, then what? What does he need to do next year?
First of all, he needs to surround, we said before, Mark Sanchez will be making $8.2 million next year, so he's going to be with the Jets another year. I hear people, saying, well, Alex Smith might be, gone from San Francisco. The Jets should sign him. Well, if you don't have talent around Smith, he's going to stink too. Plain and simple. They first need to say, all right, if Mark Sanchez is the quarterback, give him every opportunity to be successful. And if you look back to what Mark Sanchez did in his first 2 years, granted, he inherited that team, and they had a strong running game. And when Mark Sanchez has a strong running game, he's above average quarterback.
But back in this league when they have a strong running game, is an above average quarterback. There's just elite
quarterbacks that don't need anything.
Right, but
if
I'm
Mark
saying
Sanchez is going to be successful, he needs to have a strong running game.
Right. So, but then you think about redoing this offense because you need to add receiver.
100%.
And I think you need to revamp the offensive line.
It's shocking to me they played the season.
And you need to add running backs.
Yeah.
So this is not like weeks away from this being a pretty good offense.
This is overhaul.
So how do you overhaul an entire unit in 1 year?
Very easily. You saw Tampa Bay do it in the offseason with all their free agents.
Tampa Bay had a ton of money. I mean, they brought Vincent Jackson in.
Okay, but they made this play. Got the players to surround Freeman with for him to be successful. They got a great running back in the draft in Martin, who's just exceptional, running between the tackles outside.
He's a great running back.
And make the investment. Don't put money into players that are maybe. And you know what? Like I said before, Calvin Pace is one of those was brought here to put pressure on the quarterback, and he has done nothing.
You say Rex 1 more year. How much more are you willing to give Mark Sanchez?
1 year.
So next year for the Jets for you is a monster
season. And everybody goes. And if Mike Tannenbaum is lucky enough to keep his job another year, he's going to have to do it the right way.
Would you keep the year?
No, I wouldn't.
So for you, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Tannenbaum, gone. Sperano,
gone.
And Sanchez and Ryan are on notice that this is it for them.
Yeah.
Now, are they on notice? If you're Woody Johnson, do you come out and say, this is it? If you don't show me something this coming year.
100% yes.
This is going to be a big shakeup.
the Jets have no chance to win because you have a quarterback with broke ribs.
Well, it's a big problem. Let's go to the phones. People are dying to tell you what bothers them about the Jets. Jeff in Fairview, what bothers you right now most about this football team?
Dave and Ray, great show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ray, you are tremendous. I love your attitude. You are. I mean, the guy I can't take anymore is Sperano. I mean, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Guy continues to give Sean Green off tackle. I know it's coming. You know it's coming. We all know it's coming. I mean, when you don't have much talent on offense, your offensive corner has got to be unpredictable. Go for a bootleg. Throw a bomb. It's still early in the game. You see the Redskins game? It's 14 inches. The Redskins got the ball. They throw the ball wide open. The guy walks in the end zone. You got to be unpredictable.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else you can say to that.
Well, here's the funny part. I remember in the preseason, big splash. Tim Tebow's coming in. Sperano's here. He's going to run the Wildcat, but we can't show you.
Right. Oh, yeah. You remember the day that all the media went to that event and they had to promise that if they sat there and watched practice, they wouldn't tell anybody what they saw?
It was like this. Shh, don't tell nobody.
Because it was going to be this most dynamic, incredible thing.
And it's been terrible.
They make Denver look like they were offensive geniuses in the way they used Tim Tebow last year.
I'm having a hard time with all of that stuff. And the other thing that bothers me, too, is Mark Sanchez completes the ball for 35 yards. You take him out of the game, and you put Tebow in to run a quarterback draw.
They haven't used it right once.
It's nonsense. You cannot have your quarterback, after he completed a pass and got his adrenaline flowing, to stand and watch a quarterback draw on the sideline.
How about this?
It's been mismanaged tremendously all season.
From day one. How about this? They have to cut ties with this guy after the year. They have to.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you brought him in here because he was a ground and pound guy. And let's face it, Sperano's a great offensive line coach. That's
fine,
niche.
But he's not the offensive line coach on this team. He's the offensive coordinator on this team.
That is the problem. And you know what? Even when your offensive line isn't playing well, you would think an offensive coordinator with a lot of experience would right that ship. And he hasn't done it.
No, it's gone backwards instead of forwards. Listen, Brian Schottenheimer was more creative offensively than Tony Sperano has been this year.
Well, before the Rams game, the Rams were ranked above the Jets in every category. Except scoring, I think. Yeah, the Jets had scored a couple more points than they did, average a couple more points scoring a game.
Jason in Brooklyn, what bothers you most about this club right now, Jason?
Oh, first of all, that's a tough question to ask. But first, I'm going to give props to Ray Lucas, and it's going to tie into my answer. Ray, we miss you as a Jets QB. I got to tell you, I've been a Jets fan since I could walk, and you are one of the things that bothers me most about the Jets. They don't have Ray Lucas's. I want football players, and Ray Lucas was a football player. This team not only does not have talent, they don't have real leaders on either side of the ball. There's no one's going to get in your face and grab you by the face mask and say, you messed up. You know, get your head on right. Don't make a stupid penalty. Kyle Wilson, please do not celebrate because the ball was overthrown and you didn't defend the pass. You just got lucky. Santonio Holmes, please don't make that stupid little gesture when you get a first down. We don't have football players, and I know you're doing a contest giveaway. Please remove my name from consideration for this Jets-Cardinals game.
You don't want to go, huh?
I don't want to go.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, Chris Collinsworth had the line of the season when he said Sanchez was chanting Tebow.
That is funny. All right, let me ask you this. And this is a guy that's clearly fed up with this club right now. He says no leader. You know this team better than most. Do they have any kind of leadership on this club?
I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, when he said grab somebody by the face mask, I remember watching a Giant game where Victor Cruz missed a ball and Bradshaw up and smacked him in the back of the head.
Yeah, Bradshaw wasn't too happy about that, though.
Well, I'm just saying, there is anybody getting your face. When I played, I mean, I had leaders all around me.
Think about who you have. I mean, you had Curtis Martin.
I had a guy like Keyshawn. Like, the funniest thing I've ever happened, I'm early in, playing for the Jets. I'm just started. I think it was the second game. And Keyshawn comes into the huddle, and I haven't even gotten to play yet. And he said, Luke, I'm open. I said, Key, I don't know the play. He goes, I don't care what the play is. I'm open.
But did guys look up to him?
Absolutely. He was a warrior. In between the white lines, I wouldn't want anybody else on my sideline. I had Corbett, who was fearless. And there was a couple times I put him out where I went up to him and said, Q, he goes, I won't hear it. I'll catch it. Just throw it. I'll catch it. Jesus, do the Jets have any of those?
I don't think they have anything like that.
How about like a guy like Jumbo Elliott, who would chase people in practice, like the scout team guys when they, acted up or pushed him in the back? We couldn't run a play because Jumbo would still be running around chasing the defensive guy. That's the kind of angry lineman that I had. Kevin Mawai, a first ballot Hall of Famer. And then you look on the defensive side of the ball. Mo Lewis was there. Marvin Jones, Aaron Glenn. We got Marcus Coleman. We had ballers over there. But in not one instance, Parcells used to say this all the time. Police yourselves, one die, all die. So if he gave us off, and he said, he would say, go to the bars, cut loose for a little bit. One die, all die. There's not one of those guys in the Jets will go over and say, listen, we're not going
Doesn't feel like that, does it?
Not at all.
Not at all. All right, what is the one thing that has to change before anything else to get things back on track for the Jets? We'll get into that next. Dave Rothenberg, Ray Lucas with you. ESPN New York 98.7 FM.
Mike Greenberg on his beloved Jets.
This era of Jets football was mildly successful, vastly overhyped, completely unclassy, much too noisy, and never nearly as good as it thought it was. And it ended Thursday. It needs to be completely broken down and started all over again from the very top. And I really hope that the owner will do it, and I'm very worried that he will not.
Mike and Mike, mornings at 6 on ESPN New York, 98.7 FM.
I'm a good gift giver. No, a fantastic gift giver. What do I get in return? An unnecessary cheek pinch. I deserve more. So this year, I'm giving Buffalo Wild Wings gift cards. For every $25 I spend, I can get a blazing bonus worth up to $100. So the next time I hear, oh, that's so sweet, it better be referring to honey barbecue sauce. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. No purchase necessary. Must be 18 or older. Valid in restaurant at participating locations only. And void in Florida, New York, Rhode Island, and where prohibited by law. Ends 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on December 31st, 2012. See official rules at BuffaloWildWings.com for restrictions and details.
Norm Miller here, chairman of Interstate Batteries. Now, I don't mean to brag, but I recently learned auto technicians prefer Interstate Batteries 5-to-1 over any other battery. Oh, who am I kidding? Of course I mean to brag. 5-to-1, that's a landslide. All right, I'm done bragging. To find the dealer near you that prefers us, head to interstatebatteries.com. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable. And that's not bragging, it's just the truth.
Hey, it's Cola coming up Wednesday on Mike and Mike, 9:30 Eastern. ESPN college football analyst Kirk Herbstreit will tell us who has the best chance of winning the SEC championship and facing Notre Dame in the BCS title game. That's all Wednesday. Mike and Mike, ESPN Radio, ESPNradio.com.
Hi, it's Colin. 1-800-Flowers.com knows that Thanksgiving is a special time to spend with family and friends. That's why they've created beautiful centerpieces that bring smiles to your Thanksgiving celebration. They're amazing. 1-800-Flowers.com Thanksgiving Harvest Centerpiece was created just for this holiday. It's a handcrafted autumn centerpiece. Has a bounty of roses, sunflowers, lilies, and more. Sending this gift brings warmth to any room and color to any Thanksgiving celebration, even if you can't be there in person. For a limited time, when you order the Thanksgiving Harvest Centerpiece from 1-800-Flowers.com, use my name and you'll receive a free upgrade